Well, Brian, I was looking at your achievements over a long period of time at CSL. One of the most interesting things for me is that Behring actually began fractionating plasma well before CSL did. ZLB was set up and was well before CSL started working in plasma, and yet CSL bought them. And so the question I suppose is, why wasn't it the other way around? How come you were able to go from, standing start to the position where you bought Behring and you bought ZLB and you, through that, became the largest manufacturer and seller of plasma products?
Well, there's no doubt we always, as a company, had great respect for what ZLB did in immunoglobulin and Aventis Behring, particularly Behring. They were the pioneers of the whole coagulation field in plasma derivatives. So we always greatly respected them. So it is interesting that sometimes even the pioneers can fall on complex times if their owners get distracted, don't invest in the business, and so we got our timing right when we approached both companies, and they were involved in a disposal process, that we were able to share with them our enthusiasm for their business. Was it just management, or was it because CSL was better managed than Aventis Behring? It was certainly that we could convey the view that we wanted to give the business a future. We had a clear plan as to how we could add value to the business. We respected them greatly for their skills and their capabilities, so we weren't cultural imperialists, that we greatly respect our Swiss and German colleagues. And so there was no notion that they were being taken over and that they were going to work to our method. We actually more respected what they could do for us. And so to some degree we were able to lift them out of where they were and give them a global vision for the business and a vision for success in that.
Because it is incredible that you were able, this little Australian business that used to be government owned, was able to do that. What you say is to give these German and Swiss leaders in the field that started well before you, give them that global vision that you talk about. It's an incredible thing.
Well, I mean, it just shows you that it is true also that CSL was a respected peer in the field. The fact that although we came from a small market, we were government owned, didn't really diminish the reality that we had technical experts inside the company. We spoke the same language. They understood what we had done as an organisation as well. So it is true that we collected the relatives to some degree. We were all relatives. We were all fundamentally geographically constrained regional businesses. It's just that we were the runt of the litter to a degree. And yet, to some degree, whether it be the Swiss, actually their main business was actually in the US at the time, and Aventis Behring, which was mainly a very significant European business, we were able to give them a view. If we brought the family together, to some degree, we could create a great organisation that we'd all be proud to work for. And I think that's what we did.